Dale, vea.
Ya, pero no.
Hello. 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 Testing, testing.
Like say
Yeah.
do you want to show the next? What do you feel next?
I'm the pen right. Yeah. You have.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Kau kan? Thank you. Not that. Not that one. That's a nice.
Yes.
Still black. What? Check. Stay there. It's chocolate. I think that. It's a long time. Okay.
Yeah, my door. Yeah.
Sorry, do you have a clicker? Sorry. Yeah, you have. Okay, so I no need to use it. Okay.
Good.
Share dekat akak kan.
Share.
Nanti akak padam akak punya share.
Ini kan share kan, so dia bukan tak dekat. Dia tak masuk daripada Webex kan. Dia bukan dekat ni dia terus.
Dekat PC lah.
Macam dekat PC je kat dia tu.
PC nanti akak padam. Cuba padam.
Dia suruh lah. Padam tu lah.
Tak payah. Dia apa sekarang?
Tak tahu kenapa dia keluar ego sekarang. Ke kat dia betul dia. Tidak.
Si.
Ini dah merah.
So Webex.
Tak payah buka apa point tu.
Tak payah.
Baik tu buka. Sekali merah tu tu. Tiga tu dia tak. Gerak.
Tak. So, tak payah soalan. Tak tahu.
Saja. Saja tak payah kat screen. Nak kat screen juga. Baik tak payah. Macam lah. Kita buka je dalam ni lah. Tak payah kat dalam Webex.
Nampak nanti.
Ni orang dari mana apa ni? Tak bagi dia ni. Mai Trina tu. Mai Trina tu tadi start record.
Tahu.
Dia tak nampak.
Watching. Can I do it? I think
You know, better. Wait, you don't think that is really good. Tadi plannya seru.
Bahkan dia tunjuk kecil tu.
Dan kayak apa pun itu share yang aku pakai je tu. Jam. Poster. Ya, tak ada tulisan. Welcome to Appreciate with Springernature Talk. Thank you all for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin our talk today, I would like to invite everyone to please rise for national anthem Teganku. Thank you. Sudah bilang banyak kasih. Please be seated. Proceed. I would like all the three attendees to join us reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Al-Fatiha. Finn Masha, your host for this event. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speaker from Springernature, Dr. Ramesh Prinla, and Mr. Kim representative from Springernature. The Assistant of Vice Chancellor, College of Engineering, Professor in Senior PS Dr. Bajah Hamidah Muhammad Zaman, the Dean of Research and Innovation, College of Engineering, Professor T.S. Dr. Aidan Jumahat, and all head of school. And special welcome as well to all the attendees, both here in person and also virtually in YouTube. Let us seize this opportunity to deepen our understanding, explore new frontier in academic publishing together. Before we start, I would like to invite Professor in Senior TS Dr. Bajah Hamidah Saman to the stage to give a welcoming speech. Please welcome.
Thank you, for today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, and very good afternoon to our guest today, Dr. Ramesh Prevnan, Senior Book Editor, Applied Science Springernature, Mr. Ken Gibb, Licensing Manager from Springer also, audience, Professor Aida Jumahat, Research and Innovation, College of Engineering, Academic and International, Professor Interior Technologist, Dr. Solahuddin Banchueb, Head of School, all professors, associate professors, all the staff of College of Engineering, University of Mara. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this writing seminar organized in collaboration with Springernature. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Springernature for their partnership and commitment to advancing scholarly writing. Your support and expertise are invaluable to our academic community, and we are truly grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with such a renowned publishing. To our participants, I want to express how thrilled we are to have you with us today. This seminar represents continuous effort of the Office of Research and Innovation, College of Engineering, University Technology Mara, in fostering intellectual growth and to provide our academic staff with the tools and insights necessary for impactful publication. One important aspect I would like to highlight today is the role of book writing in our academic and research environments. Writing a book is not merely an individual endeavor, but it's also a key performance indicators, KPI under the Mission Research Assessment of MIRA for the university. This is a crucial component of the academic landscape for 70%. Firstly, books contribute significantly to the dissemination of knowledge and the advancement of our fields. As a result, publishing a book is an opportunity to consolidate and expand upon their research, offering a comprehensive analysis serve as a reference in their discipline. It allows for the in-depth exploration of topics that might not be possible in shorter articles. Furthermore, books often have a broader and longer lasting impact than journal articles. They can reach diverse audiences, including students, practitioners, and policymakers, thereby amplifying the influence of your work. This broad dissemination is vital for fostering academic dialogue and contributing to the development of knowledge in your field. In addition, authoring a book enhances academic profile and contributes to their career progression. It is a tangible demonstration of expertise and scholarly contribution, which is highly regarded in evaluations and promotions. For research groups, a well-written book can showcase collaborative work, highlight collective achievements, and establish your learn as a leading researcher in your area of study. At UITM, University Tengah Timara, we are committed to supporting our academic community in every facet of their intellectual pursuits. This seminar is evidence to that commitment. I encourage you all to take full advantage of the resources and expertise available to you today. Participate actively, ask questions, and engage in discussions. This is a unique opportunity to gain insights that could significantly impact your future writing endeavors. As we embark on this journey together, let us remember that every great book starts with a single idea, and that each one of you has the potential to contribute something truly remarkable to the world of the literature and academia. Your dedication to your craft and your willingness to learn and grow are what make this seminar so important and meaningful. In closing, I would like to wish you all a productive and inspiring seminar. May you live here with newfound knowledge, renewed enthusiasm, and a clearer path to achieving your writing goal. Thank you once again for being here, and a special thanks to Springer for making this event possible. Let us make the most of this opportunity and strive to make a lasting impact in our life. With that, with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I declare this seminar open. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Please allow me to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ramesh Prema. Dr. Ramesh holds the position of Senior Editor at Springernature, one of the leading global publishing companies that serve research, educational, and professional. He received his PhD in Material Science and Engineering from the University of Connecticut, USA, in July 2008. He worked as postdoctoral researcher at the Alba National Laboratory, USA, and Institute of Material Research and Engineering in Singapore. He joined Springer in January 2012 as publishing editor in Applied Sciences with Springer Editorial Office in Singapore. Dr. Ramesh is in charge of academic book publishing program in various engineering disciplines, as well as developing publishing program regionally in Southeast Asia and Australasia. Following the presentation, there will be a Q&A session at the end of this talk, so please hold on your questions until then. So without further ado, I would like to invite our honorable guest for this evening, Dr. Ramesh, please welcome.
Hello. Everyone can hear me? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you to make my job very easy. I emphasize how important it is to write a book and how a book distinguishes from a journal article. Thank you, Professor Aida, for having me, and thank you everyone for coming. Professors, researchers, young researchers, senior researchers. Really appreciate your attendance. And in my presentation, hopefully, I will enlighten you on the process of publishing a book, how to do it. And hopefully, we have a very full discussion. As I mentioned, this is more, I would like to say it's more like a workshop, for us to have a discussion. If you have any questions or any issue, you can always talk about it, and others can learn from your experience. Yes, this is just the cover slide of my presentation. So I'm going to talk about Springer books, academic books, and basically in the field of engineering and applied science, because that is where I come from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next slide and go over the agenda. I have the document. Okay, so I was already introduced, so I will not repeat. So basically, I am in charge of the academic book program based in the Singapore office. I've been with Springer since 2012. So I joined Springer as an experiment. I was an academic before, I did my PhD postdoc. But then Springer was a one-year experiment which lasted for 12 years already. So I'm glad that this is an important job. I guess that's why I still remain in Springer. Being an academic is important, pushing the research frontier, but this is also important. This is why I'm still here. And my job is basically to develop a book program. In the beginning, I was developing book journal programs, but in 2019, there was a change in the structure of the editorial team, where they want editors to be more focused towards journals and more focused to, because obviously journals require a lot of nurturing, a lot of development. There's a lot of work involved, and books as well. So that's why we split. So now I primarily do books. So what my job is, I reach out to potential authors. We also review book proposals. We review books that have been completed, sent to me. So I am basically in charge of the book program. Other colleagues all over the world. So I'm in the Singapore office. I cover the region. I also have colleagues who are based in India, China, in Europe, in the US, and we are all part of a global team. So there's no difference if you publish with editor in Singapore, based in Singapore, because we are part of the global team. Your book will be published in the Springer Global Program. It will be sold globally to all universities all over the world, which I'll explain. So just to give a little background of who I am, a very small person in a company of like 9,000 people and 50 offices. Okay, this is a very brief agenda today. Presentation, I promise, will not be an hour and a half. So hopefully I keep your attention and nobody drifts off somewhere. So I will give a very brief introduction to Springernature. I think it's always nice to know, especially if you are not familiar with us. And then I will give a brief overview of just very brief of UITM kind of papers that you have published with us, and also some books already in the Springer collection. And then I will jump straight into academic books, like what type of books there are. We'll talk about book series. And then more importantly, I will talk about how our books are sold. How is it reached out to all the different libraries in the world through licensing programs. Thing which my colleague Ken is in charge of the Malaysian market. And then the process, right? Which is very different from journal articles. So the review process of the book proposal, I'll go into great details. And then I'll talk about a little bit about open access, the future, where different research organizations making it a mandate for you to publish in the open access model. So I will talk a little bit about that, and then I will jump into the Q&A. And meanwhile, if you have any questions or you're not very clear about what I described, feel free to raise your hand up, and we can talk about it. I'm guessing everybody is from the engineering faculty. Yes. Okay, good. No students, right? Are there any PhD students? Mostly lecturers. Okay, good. Wow, well done, man. Okay. So that's good. As a PhD student, it's always nice to know, right? I mean, students usually they think about journal article, that's the first thing, like 3-page, 5-page. But books is something that, also for the future, you have to write for your PhD thesis, things like that. So it's also very helpful. So what is Springernature? Springernature is one of the leading global company that has been around for a long time. So the most important thing is we are one of the largest. We have one of the largest academic book collection among all the other companies. Springernature, I think, is you also think about like CRT Press, Wiley, Elsevier. But if you think about Pearson, McGraw-Hill, those are all textbooks, purely textbooks. We are more academic, so we are more on research books, a little bit more higher. And as I mentioned, we are 9,000 staff, over 200 offices in 50 countries. So you know me, but I'm just one of the small little speck in the company. And we were formed in 2015. So before 2015, I was working with a company called Springernature. The old name is Springernature. So, and in 2015, Springer Company and Nature, which publishes the Nature Journal, if some of you all are familiar, these two companies merged together, which is a great thing because both companies not compete with one another; they complement each other in terms of the what we have. Like Nature is mostly premium journals, and Springer is mostly the traditional journal and book program, which Nature doesn't have. So this is an important development in 2015. And as a result of that merger, you have a combination of all these imprints that you see over here. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of them. Springer is where I'm from, and then you have Sure. Yeah. And we also have Macmillan Education. If you're not in education, I guess you may not know Macmillan. EMC is an open access for life sciences. And you have A-Press, which is mostly for computer science books. Scientific America is a magazine. Anybody know Scientific America? I think it's not very common in this part of the world. Palgrave Macmillan, which is a book program in human sciences, social sciences. Then you have ALIS as well, which is for life sciences. So basically, it's a very big company, and we have many imprints, and many of you all just know the logo or the imprints that we work with. So just to give an overview, I think some of my slides are getting too much zooming in. Yeah. So Springer is about 182 years old. Was the company that the imprint itself was set up by Julius Springer in May 1842. And the mission is to bring new discoveries, high quality scientific research to everybody. And I think since 2004, we have paved the way in terms of converting all our publications to electronic. I think it started much earlier for journals, but for books, 2005, we converted all our books to electronic books. In the sense that books will not be out of print anymore. We are also going towards open access, which is important. That way I can scroll the of this doing. So this is a typical Springer Link website. So this is the gateway to our whatever content that we have in Springer. So you can see we have over 300,000 book titles, and we have over 200 Nobel Prize winners that have written for us in the form of book or journal. And all our ebooks, on average, over its lifetime, gets about 8,000 downloads and 40 plus citations, which is great because a lot of people think that books are something that's secondary refer to them, but you do get citations and downloads and interest from books. Scroll down a little bit, you can see the different subject areas that we work in. For example, astronomy, business management, geography, law, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, social sciences as well. Of course, fields like water, material science, geography, things like that, and engineering, of course, which is my area of expertise, and energy as well. Now I covered a little bit, giving you an overview of Springernature. I'm just going to talk very briefly about UITM, the kind of numbers that you have with Springer. So this figure is a little bit too zoomed in, but what you see over here is basically period of 10 years from 2015 to 2024. So this axis is the number of journal articles, book chapters that UITM has looked at in Springer, and you can see that it's a very nice kind of average of 500 articles per year, and all these have generated over 33,000 citations, where it means that for every publication that you have with Springer, there is a mean citation of about 6. So these are just numbers that we pull out from our database of SN Insights. We have a very nice database that allows us to drill through and get more information. And these are the different subject areas that UITM has in terms of book chapters and journal articles. You can see that the university is more focused towards engineering. I'm not able to break down which engineering, unfortunately. I was trying to do that last night, but you can see the main focus is in engineering. And of course, you have computer science, which is complement with engineering. And then the other related subject areas as well, such as built environment, health sciences, earth sciences, agriculture, physical sciences, and so on. I think we will be sharing this slide after the presentation, so you can. I also kind of pulled out the list of top 10 authors who have published with Springer. Can I some of the names? Okay, that's good. Take note that this is data with Springer also. Yeah. We couldn't. This person, I think, is associated to UITM, but he's Saudi. Yeah. So you can see as well, it's interesting the amount of citations they have got from Springer papers and books, chapters as well. So it's a great indication of how the research output from UITM and how much efforts is put in to writing all these papers. And it's good. Okay. So I also kind of cover the database and I found these are the books where authors have published with Springer. So personally, I published this book, this textbook, Zaiki Awam. Yeah, I retired. Yeah, yeah. I published this book in 2014. About, yeah, years ago. I think he wanted to write a book before. So you can see Zaiki Awam is from electrical and weight systems. Then you have other fields as well, like timber, and then you have software with industrial ecology, somewhat in the life sciences. Then you scroll down, other fields as well, allow sustainability. Yeah, so I think it's social sciences, it's ICT, computer science, and this is finding medical devices. Yeah, so hopefully you guys recognize some of these authors or titles. These authors may not all be from UITM. Some of them are collaboration. Like some books for them, they have a couple of authors. Maybe one of them is UITM, but the other authors are from other parts of the world. So also quite friends with them. Okay, so these are the publications that UITM have with Springer. Great to know that you guys are working with us already, so it makes things much easier. Continue this collaboration. So if I move forward, let's talk about writing books. Okay, so this is basically a question that we have asked our authors. Come to us and we ask them, so why do you want to write a book with us? And these are the top reasons, like for example, the first reason is passing knowledge to future. Like for example, Professor Zaiki Awam, who has retired. I think that's probably one of the last things that he wanted to. And it was a rather thick book, like for 500 pages. It was very comprehensive, and also to build a reputation or to enhance your career. Professor Hamida was saying that writing a journal article in a book is a separate thing. The journal article every year, there's so many publications, but a journal title will stand out. It really helps to put your name out there globally and people in your research community to identify to you as an expert in that field. Number three is to improve awareness about your research work. Sometimes you're working in a certain obscure topic or technology, and you feel that it's not being used or being recognized, being or other research community may not be aware of it. So this is a good chance for you to actually, especially when you have written a couple of papers, 4 or 5 journal articles, this is a good time for you to consolidate all your work into a form of a book. And also the other reason is personal feeling of achievement. After you're writing a book, it's really nice. The first book that you write is your master's thesis or your PhD thesis. After that, the satisfaction that you feel is nice. And of course, the last thing is I was required to do it. Very nice reason, but sometimes it's needed. It's part of your research grant. And there are also other reasons such as change opinion. I think this is more related to social sciences. Financial gains, I don't think so, because you're not writing a Harry Potter book. You're not going to earn millions than from your research monograph. So, and of course, lastly, as I mentioned, the research funding. So, let me go through with you the type of academic books. So I'm sure you have seen I'm sure you have seen just now the cover page that I showed, books from UITM. You've seen this very colorful Springer brief. So this actually a very nice form of writing a book. So Springer briefs are basically like a longer version of a journal article, journal review article. You know, so a book that is above 50 pages, but it has to be less than 125 pages. So it's not as lengthy as the research monograph, which is sometimes about 200, 300 pages. This is shorter. So this is a very ideal book to write if you want to talk about an upcoming research field or certain technology or certain technique. Yeah, it's not good to be writing it for very introduction kind of book. That shouldn't be the case. It should be a very specific research topic or upcoming field. Then you have research books. For example, research books written by authors or single author or a couple of authors. So I'm comparing this with edited volume above here. So these two are basically a book describing a certain research topic, except that this one, that means you have one or three authors who all contribute to the book. But for an edited volume, you have what you call a book editor. His job is to invite chapter authors to contribute the individual chapters. So it's not like he's not doing a good job or he's not doing anything for the book. His job is very important because he has to collect the best chapter authors and he has to organize the book to make sure that the book is very coherent from chapter 1, introduction, 2, 3, 4. So even he can also contribute to write the chapters inside as well. So research monographs can be written in two ways: edited volume or written by a single or few authors. And then I'd like to touch about reference works. So reference work is like a flagship book program that we have in Springer. And these are basically books which are handbooks, encyclopedia, or atlas. And it describes or it gives a very comprehensive, complete overview of a research topic. You know, like for example, more of a life science kind of book, or maybe a handbook of nano materials, you know, or a handbook of industrial engineering. This covers a comprehensive topic, and this is the kind of book that you may have in your lab where your students can refer to it, or maybe new researchers or someone that wants to get into the new field. So a handbook is very useful. This is quite a mammoth book because handbooks are at least 50 chapters. You know, so they are 1,000-page books. Sometimes they are multi-volumes, 2, 3 volumes. So these are the kind of books that we have in handbooks. And of course, encyclopedias as you know, encyclopedias are arranged in terms of entries listed from A to Z, right? In terms of, so for example, the encyclopedia of nanosciences. So you talk about everything about nanosciences and it's listed from A to Z. And yeah, okay. And then next thing I like to touch is on textbooks. Everybody know what the textbook is used for coursework. And then you have conference books based on conference articles. So this is something that I publish a lot as well. There's a lot of conferences happening in the region, especially in Malaysia. Publish a lot of conference proceedings. And then we also publish practitioner or professional books. As you mentioned, this is mostly for people who are working in the industry. Industry, like for example, this industry, fourth industry, or this is a book in the field of yeah. So it's I think the professional book that I've gotten here is mostly on oil and gas. But so before you write a book, you have to decide what sort of book do you write. as I mentioned and introduced the type of books before this, you have different type of books where the scope changes from a very broad scope, like for example, a handbook, all the way to a Springer briefs, which is a very specific topic. So, for example, a handbook, it covers the whole breadth of a certain area. It also kind of bring together all the different research work that has been done in the field. So, area. While you have Springer briefs, which cover maybe a case study or a certain research topic, and then in between these two, the edited volume book or the research books that I described before. So these books are usually like in the range, the page count of maybe 200 to 500 pages. This one is like below 125 pages. These books are 1,000 pages. So you can see how much material it contains. So now that I've described the type of books, I would like to also talk about book series. So what's a book series? In the world of books, we compare it to a journal. So a journal is basically a collection of journal articles, right? So there's the same thing as well. For books, it's just basically a collection, individual books that fit into a certain field. So just like journals, you have a chief editor. Book series, you have a series editor. So most of the time, it's a professor, very known guy in the field. So his job is to basically attract book proposal for people to write books for him for the book series. And just like a journal is supported by international international editorial board as well, or writing from professors working in the field. And also they will have well-defined aims and scope for the book series. Like for example, I have a book series. So sciences. So basically, you have a series editor who would be into the book proposals or getting the proposals in. Every volume associated in the book is in the field of science. So it's a very focus on a specific topic, and we publish new books a year. So the nice thing about book series, or why we form book series, is you can think of it because it is a very focused. So this book series, that every time there's a new volume, it's very focused towards that research area. And also with the book series, we are able to index them by scopus. It helps us to kind of arrange it with the ISSN, just like how we have with other book series as well. So we can easily index by scopus, and we have book series for textbook, such monographs, Springer briefs, conferences, and MRW. Just to give you an information of how books. For example, you also have these two book series that I've shown. Maybe the one that's more related to you guys is Advances in Intelligent Systems and Computers. So you've written a book for us, and how is this book, to the different libraries in a different part of the world? So most of our books are published in print, electronic, or the EPUB format. And as I mentioned, that Springer have been converting our books into electronic books, and these books, some of them come from 1800s. So it's a nice thing because the book never go out of print. You know that book always exists in the electronic form. And then you have massive increased access through online views, through our ebooks. Right? We put our ebooks together in a certain subject area, for example, electrical engineering. Then we sell the licensing, and maybe can talk more about it, all the university libraries through different channels, different business deals and things. And more importantly, since everything is available online, search engine optimization is also important. Google searches. So this is something that we recognize. We make sure that most of our journal articles, books, search engine optimized. And that requires an online business, going about the side hobby, of providing goods and services. Search engine optimization is very important. And most of our books are available through third-party channels like Amazon, which is the biggest. Cannot not work with Amazon, although they take money from us quite a bit, but we have no choice, right? To have the books also. So in short, basically, when you publish a book with us, it's going to reach as wide as can, the marketing, the sales, accessibility of your book will be available globally. As long as you have an internet, you can access our books. Any part of the book. And the nice thing about our book is there is no CRM. We do not restrict on printing, saving, and copying the book. So these are for the users. And also, users can download the entire book when you click it one time, or they can even download by the chapter, just the individual chapter. And chapter level, each chapter is assigned a DOI, which helps in the citation, where you can cite that chapter. And because of that, you find books also being indexed. Opus, a complex, I guess this applies to the engineering field. And you can access it through any book reader, like a mobile device, your phone. And then this applies to all the different type of books, textbooks, major reference books. As well. Okay. So if you look at the profile of our users, that means who read our books, this is a nice chart to show that 80% of our ebook users are from academic, 14% are non-academic research organization, like mostly doctors. I guess these are hospitals and R&D who work in certain industries. And about 6% of them are librarians or consultants. If you look at this pie chart, you can see majority is made out of students, students as well. Then you have different searches from different fields. And if you look at the ebook downloads by geography, I mean the different regions, well, who are our users? You can see that Asia is quite a big chunk, about 33%. And you can see the top 5 Asian countries. Malaysia is actually top 5 in terms of ebook usage. So we know that you guys appreciate our content and you are using it very well. And we have Western Europe, followed by North America, Latin America, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you happen to want to publish a book, what are the qualities the book publishing editors look for? Someone like me, because when you want to publish a book, the first person that actually looks the material is me. So I'm always looking for cutting edge and original research. We don't want you to reinvent the wheel. Say there are so many books in a certain research topic. Now be wise to publish another one. Or sometimes I get books that are very general, too general that doesn't make sense. In the sense that, for example, I get books that a book title like Materials, but the book is only 100 pages. Know that this is something wrong. Materials and Energy should be a 1,000-page book because it's such a huge topic, is very big. So you need to think about that as well. Then we look at the theoretical meaning grounding in the literature, and whether this book will have an international or regional. Also, whether these are the new hot topic areas, and also whether it connects with a clear audience. So, for example, you have a book intended to be for coursework. Obviously, it needs to be a textbook, and how is the book written? There are examples in the book, the end of chapter, questions. There are slides associated with the book so that lecturers can use. So you need to design the book such that you are connecting to a certain type of audience. Or you want to write a research book, it should be, where it's meant for people who are working only in that field. So then you must design the book. So you cannot have a book that describes everything and it connects to everybody. Now that one is quite limiting. It's not here, it's not there, So this is the publication process for books. It looks very lengthy, but it's actually you don't have to go through it once. After that, you understand the steps involved. So it starts with submitting a book proposal. And a book proposal is basically just a very framework of the book. That means basically just the book title, description of the book, table of content, the USPs, things that I will go into much later. So once you submit a book proposal to us, this is the kind of time frame that undergoes the review. So it takes about 6 weeks to review the proposal. The proposal is just very brief information, but it gets sent to external reviewers, professors. Sometimes certain books proposals I get not within my field, so I may not be a good judge to tell whether this is going to be a good book. So I have to send it to a professor in another university, or if I want to publish the book in a book series, then I'll send it to the series editor, and he may send it to some other reviewer as well. So the proposal undergoes quite a bit of review, which is why it takes about 6 weeks. So once the proposal is reviewed and it's approved, we go about, the first thing we do is we sign a publishing agreement, which highlights just when the book will be submitted to us, how many pages, what's the book title, brand remuneration that we pay our authors, the amount, just a legal document, so that the author and us have a common understanding. Because I come into situations where I sign a book, 300-page book, but the author submits a 100-page book. Then at least I have that document to cancel the book project, and there's no legal issues. Then when authors, so once we sign the agreement, authors depend. Some authors need 2 years to write their book. Some authors have their book in the drawer, pick out the manuscript and just put it on the table. Usually now we don't use paper anymore. Of course, they email the book to me. So it depends. Some authors sign the contract, and after 7 years ago, they haven't sent the book to us. But they're still hanging on to that book, the glimmer of hope that they will submit the title to us. And then once the book comes to us, again, we review the final version from the author, because we have to make sure that there is no plagiarism issues, no ethical issues, there's no scientific integrity is good. Also, we check the final version, and then it goes through a production where the book can go through typesetting and things like that. Proofs, the normal thing that you do in a journal article as well. And then finally, you publish your book. So this is the very process writing a book, which I think is slightly different from a journal. So just a very brief overview of what you need submitting a proposal. Because a proposal is very similar to a cover letter submit for a journal article. It's basically trying to convince a reviewer or the series editor to consider your book project. So basically we have a standard form. We have standardized it. You just kind of fill up the form, the different information that we need to evaluate your book proposal. An important thing is, have your CV ready. That's the point important because to check whether you are suitable to write the book, that you have the research credentials to be able to write the book. And then, you may send us some chapter abstract. Because book proposal basically a table of content, maybe it's not enough. You can write a small abstract for each chapter. We understand that, have a good structure of the book, you know what you are going to write. Maybe if you have a sample chapter already, you can send it to us. And then if you have any other reviews, like you have a senior colleague who has looked into your book information and he thinks that it's a great book and he wrote some nice comments for you to improve on. So these are the things that you can have when you submit a book proposal to us. Of course, it goes through an internal review process by me, by my senior colleagues who approves it, external reviewers, and then we have discussions, and sometimes the reviewer come back and say, "Oh, this is missing 2 or 3 chapters, or chapters should be merged into one." So we have discussions between the review us. Then finally, we offer you a contract. So as I mentioned, that the publishing world today, your content will be online. So when we publish a book, even in Springer, when we publish a book, the ebook is out first. The print version comes 2 or 3 weeks after that. Because online is more important. And even printing is done print on demand. It's not offset printing where we print the copies and then printing is done on demand. So it's important that your book, the content is findable online because there's many journal articles and scientific articles being published every year. So it's important that you need to find it. So things like search engine optimization, abstract and indexing services like Scopus, Web of Science, library portals, book search programs, e-retail, Amazon, social media, push marketing. So these are all the different features that is needed to make sure that your content is available and is findable when someone do a search. So this is important also when you're preparing a book. Why? Because all this searchability, search engine optimization, always link certain elements in your book. For those who have published journals, which I think most of you all have, you always have to think about the journal title. You have to make sure that the title is concise and it precisely describes what the research work is done. Also think about keywords, right? Because keywords are very important. Use the wrong keywords, then people are not able to find your journal article or even your book. So these are the different elements, things like keywords, I mentioned, book title, a unique selling point, way of trying to stand out. Because there are so many, there might be other books already in the market. And then how do you write your information text about your book? It's basically a small thread describing your book. So if you go to Amazon, for example, there's always the description of the book somewhere. So some people, sometimes I get book proposals where the potential author for the info text, they write the whole literature review, and describe nothing about the book. So I read the whole thing and I'm like, so okay. what's the book about? So these are the key things that you have to remember. And last but not least, you have to also tell kind of hit yourself. So you have to write a very good story about background and where you come from, the kind of awards that you won, how many students you had, how many publications and associated to societies to show that you have a good standing in that research area. So just to give you a very brief example, for example, as I mentioned, keywords. So over on the left here, just an example that my colleague has used. So I just borrowed the slide. So you can see these are very generalized single word keywords. These are not good. Like religion. You go Google, you type religion. You're not going to find what you want. So instead of just religion, you can write religion to get very specific, very precise. The example on the left is just to show that sometimes single words are not enough, unless it's a very unique word. A word that not many people, not very general. So you need to string together at least 2, 3, 4 words to make sure that it's a very good keyword. And when someone types this in Google, they're able to hopefully locate your Springer book or your Springer journal article. Same goes to your book title. So I keep mentioning Google because Google is what I use all the time as well. And I suspect many of you all also probably do that, right? Most of your first thing is Google, but Google is so fast, you have to make sure that the book title conveys book topic. One good thing to take note of through search engine optimization is that Google only shows the first 5 characters of your title. So that's one of the things that we know. So it's very important for you to put certain words in the first 65 characters, so at least you do not waste the space. When someone do a Google search, hopefully, or someone do a library search or something, it ties to click on your book. And please use some of the keywords. May use some of the keywords in the first 65 characters. And original if you can. I'm not sure about this one, but I was just gonna just avoid wordplay. These are some examples below. I have a funny story about this book over here. Attribute of water. I think for me it's still a very not the best article. So the one over here is called the attribute of water. But when I received the book proposal, the professor wanted the book title to be the soul of water. Soul, S-O-U-L, soul. So, and I looked into the book, it's all XPS, like X-ray photon, photoelectron spectroscopy, and Auger electron. I was like, oh my god, this is hardcore science, physics kind of. So we had to talk, and then finally he settled with attribute of water, but it wasn't good enough. But still, I managed to put a lot of keywords associated to spectroscopy, the work that went on into this. The next thing is the unique selling point. So this is my hobby. I do call it my hobby because I spend so much time every day rewriting unique selling points for all my books proposals that I get, because this is something which is not easy. I think there's a lot of activity involved. Basically, unique selling points are just very short. This right, how unique your book is, or what is the importance of your book. So it's basically just 3 concise unique selling points. So you see these features also on Amazon as well. If you go to Amazon, you will see that, but you also see that in the Springer website. So you should also keep it just one idea for USP. Like for example, if you are publishing a book on technology or chemical engineer, for example, specifically, so you can write, it comprehensively compiles research work in nanotechnology for chemical engineering. This is one research point. Another research point, another USP would be, includes a lot of illustrations and diagrams to guide readers more closely towards like this, or includes examples where researchers can use it. So these are things that I will usually rewrite it as I look deeper into, right? You'll be potential authors somewhere to start with. So that's important. Okay, USPs, the mentioned, and then this, sorry, yeah. And this is the of course the information text, which is a short abstract of what the book is about. This is that's also important because you have to basically describe your what the whole book is about in about 200 words. Requires some work as well, and I do it as well because I get proposals and I do a lot of rewriting. So, but as I said, you submit something which is a good starting point for me, then I don't have to. So yeah, same thing as well. It must be standalone. It must be gives a accurate summary of your research and the conclusions. Describe what is done, what kind of methods is used, things like that. And you have to be brief. You cannot, as I mentioned, don't write a literature review. Basically, you're targeting what your book is about. Avoid abbreviations, avoid references in your full text, and don't need to thank people there. You can thank people to book plenty of space. And just to let you know that Google does display information text, like it will show the title of your book, which is 65. Then Google will 2 lines. It's important for you to make sure that first 2 lines describes what your book is about. Okay. Yes, biography is very important. Instead your reputation follows you. So it's important that you write a very good biography. I'm sure you already have because you have published many journal articles and many of them ask you to share a picture of yourself, write up as well. So this is just some tips on how to write it. But it depends on individual. Sometimes I get very lengthy ones. So what I do is I try to shorten it for them as well. You don't want them to spend too much time. Okay, let's move on. So peer review process, I think is something very similar to articles where you go through peer reviewing process. Proposals, manuscripts also go through the same thing. So these are just some tips on what kind of questions reviewers ask themselves. I ask myself when I am reviewing a certain book proposal, whether this proposal offer a useful or original contribution to the field. Is it going to be this high impact book? Does it engage with recent scholarship? Is it up to date, or is it something that happened 25 years ago? So that's also one thing. What are the strengths and weaknesses? Obviously, there is certain gap in knowledge. If something that it needs to be maybe include an extra chapter or two, that might be helpful. Also, are areas where the author has to consider, and things like that. But of course, sometimes if I don't know the field, set it to first. Do's and don'ts. I think this is very wordy. Sorry for that. You may suggest peer reviewers if you want. You can submit a proposal. You know that you, but Your peer reviewers cannot be your friend, collaborators for the past 5 years. So if you have publications with this person, last 5 years, we cannot use them as peer review because obviously it's a conflict of interest. Yeah. You also should make clear how your proposal relates to competing books because many books in the field and sometimes it's a very unique situation where your book is the first book. The books out there already. So it's important to make a comparison. As I said, do not choose close colleagues, PhD supervisors, and peer review. Table of content is very important. So this is part of the book proposal, especially for edited volumes. Sometimes you have a wish list chapters, and you cannot find the chapter author. The wasted effort because you're not able. So what we do is we make sure that at least 80% of the chapter authors have agreed to contribute the book chapter. So at least even 20% of them decide not to write chapter, at least are able to complete the book. Still okay. We are quite flexible with that. Say a book is a little bit shorter, 20% is okay. But if 50%, then we have to cancel them. This is also an interesting topic that not many. So sometimes a PhD is written in such a way, publishing into a book. Thesis and the research monograph, obviously, if you read those two books, written in a very different way. Because PhD thesis is basically written for examiners, right? So the way you narrate your research work, but for a research monograph, is basically describing a research. The style of writing between a PhD thesis to a research monograph is different. So in that way, if you want to convert PhD thesis and publish it as a research monograph in Springer, it requires some work so that you can do that conversion very well. Because you submit the book proposal to or the full book version. If I looked at it, I'm like, hey, this is the PhD thesis. We cannot publish it to do some changes. So like some PhD thesis, the supervisor said, oh, this, all your methodology, your review, your password, everything you must have inside because I'm going to give this to the next student, the next PhD student. So the PhD thesis can be 500 pages, but most of it is information for the next student that's coming in so that you can continue your work. So, but this is not suitable in the Springer book. You might need to end up removing some of them. Maybe the information is not, maybe you need to expand some of the length as well. So then also PhD thesis sometimes already written journal articles. Some of these results are already in the journal. So publish as a PhD thesis in the university is okay because but when you publish with Springer, it becomes commercial. So then the copyright becomes a little bit of a sticky issue. So you need to have make sure that you can reuse it. So just to give you the brief summary, converting PhD thesis is not so easy. There's some reorganization, rewriting, some reducing, add new perspective, maybe add more data, things like that. There might be some work. There's a link that I think information there is quite good that I found. Describe all this that I mentioned in greater detail. So you can refer that. Okay, so I talked a lot about books, different type of books, how to prepare a book proposal, what to do, what not to do. I think there's a lot of information. Hopefully you have captured some of it. So the last part I'm going to talk about is open access. Okay, who here doesn't know what is open access? So it's easy. Okay, so open access basically is the way forward. We don't know how long is it going to take before it trickles to this part of the world. Because in Asia, I think probably picking up in China, Japan. They have more funding coming in for open access from the government. I know it's difficult because open access requires to pay processing charge. It can be very expensive and comes from a research grant, it's not easy. So open access, hopefully in the future, but it's good that you have this information, that you have green open access, gold open access. Gold open access is something which is the one we commonly see. Green is quite rare. Quite rare. You have to see, but Springer mostly work in the gold open access area. So for open access, you need to be aware of the costs and also the available funding. I think that's important. And I guess you need to know the requirements of your department, your institution, and your grant. Like for example, I read about publishing open access, and it's a very sticky issue. That you basically don't have it within your grant frame, so you probably have to go to the university department, the organization to. So open access, what it means is really unrestricted online access to your research, which is great, right? That means nobody has to buy a book. They just click, they download, they can read it, no problem, they can print it. So that's great. That means they are free to share, to use, so that more accessible, will be more accessible, and citations will be higher because people have more access to your work. So they are free to use without subscription. No, of course there's a cost involved, which is paid by the authors. So open access is whether it's basically paying at the front door, you're not paying at the back door. I think the old traditional way is whereby you publish with us, pay for it. Open access is the other way. The authors pay for it so that the users don't. And, open access is great because all these words. There's a lot of words over here, and just to let you know that open access we still go through in Springer, especially we still go through a standard rigorous peer review. That's like a non-open access. Just because you are paying that doesn't mean that the article will be accepted. Right? So I think I will not go through this. Okay, just to give you a very nice overview of open access chapter publishing. Go down a little bit, you can see that there is this up over here. So basically, this shows for non-open access. So sorry, non-open access is the blue one. The darker one is the open access. So basically, what you actually see from this chart is that there are about 30,000 more chapter downloads for an open access book in the first year alone. So you can see the kind of doors that you open. This is basically 7 times more than average non-open access. Also, citations are about 50% higher for open access book compared to. I believe this also applies for journal other articles as well. Then, because it's open access and it's available online, you have a mention social media. And this is about 10 times. Just to give you an example, these 2 books, which are pretty similar in the research topic and field. So this is a Springer brief. You can see that the book on top is open access because of the logo here. And the book below, if you scroll down a little bit, is a normal non-open access book. If you look at the mentions and the downloads, so the non-open access is about 483 downloads, while the open access 40,000. It's a big jump. Another example as well. So this is an open access book sponsored by some organization. You can see there's a logo is here, and you can see that compared to a non-open access book, which is quite similar in the field. This one is about 550,000 downloads. Citations is about 130 and mentions is about 33. So this is one citation, one mention, and so you can see the big difference. Of course, because of the open access model, how is set up legal kind of business, is it for turnaround time, right? Because send an article to us, you pay us money tomorrow, your paper. You have a lot of bad actors. I'm sure your research organization have identified some for you guys, like do not publish with this journal or certain companies. So before you submit an article, it's important because once you hand over your article to them, they can do whatever they want. Then you are stuck. So it's important that before you submit an article to any journal that you are not familiar with, you should check in your library, or should check with your senior colleagues. You should maybe check with there's some website as well, like this one, Think, Check, Submit. Or so these are important because you don't want to come to a situation where your paper is stuck. So think, check, and then submit. That's the motto. Okay, just the last part of my presentation, just to show the future of the book and the new technology. So this is a little statement given by Neil Peter Thomas, the big boss, the biggest boss. Say that books have a promising future with new technology and visionary features. So let me present to you what features are. So this is basically just to enhance the book. We don't want books to be very boring. Open the page and just words, pictures, words, pictures. We want it to be more interactive, have more options, involved. And also, we want it to be, want to improve more reading options, and also want it its context and let readers find the most relevant book. So there is a YouTube that shows all this fancy graphics, so you can probably look at it on your own. But to put it all in this little slideshow, just show you some innovative projects from the Springernature book lab. Basically, this is a little bit of a book lab that we have. We have books, like we call it living books, machine-generated books, where you don't have authors. The author is the itself. And then you have social reading. Of course, this is related to social media. Then you have print ebook integration. So you technology involved. And of course, during COVID, we all stay at home and instead having sit through a course classes, especially if you're a lecturer. So we started developing on this online platform to learn as well. So just very quickly to go through, living books, basically, it's a nice idea. So basically, it allows online updates to publish chapters. So certain research topic fields are evolving very quickly. After the year of you publishing, your chapter is, it doesn't apply anymore because technology has already evolved. This, I think, applies to computer science field and things like that. So, it allows online updates. So you can even revise your chapter. You wrote a chapter, you publish, you can even send an update. You can revise your chapter, and then you go through the series editor, you move it, get reviewed. The new version will be out there. And then this is nice because new developments can be communicated early. And then, it allows the authority and the citation of the books to be faster, because you know that this person is the author of this chapters, so obviously for him to go and update and sure that this information is more updated. This is currently in development. It is done for handbooks. Handbooks, we allow that. And then even if you have enough or significant changes to the book, we can even use that version to publish the second edition. So it's like, you publish the book, then after 5 years of changes, then we realize, wow, 40% of the content has been updated or changed or added. Maybe we can have a second edition of a print version. Signed version, the book is living, it's a living book. And then we have a machine generated book. So we published it lithium ion batteries in 2019. So basically, go into the Springer literature. It's of course only Springer literature. We cannot use books from Elsevier or articles because copyright, they own it. We can only use materials that we own the copyright to. And we actually came out with a book on lithium ion batteries. And it is pretty good because it is quite up to date. You can go and check it out on springer.com for access, and you can look at the citation. And, it's viewed as well by experts, so the experts do some correction to the book. So far, it's okay. And we also developing automatic translations. That is a bit difficult using DeepL technology. So basically, having the capability of taking an English idiom book and translate it to German automatically. I think that would be a very powerful tool. From English to Chinese. China market is big. Or things like that. I think that would be a good tool. Very quickly going along. Social media reading. I think this one is a little bit sky blue kind of idea because it's very hard to regulate people and what you see on social media. The same thing applies for books. You publish a book and then you leave it open for social media to comment. You might get weird negative comments or not constructive comments. So this is something that we are still developing, but I think it's a good idea, but it may not be very sustainable. But it's interesting, right? Because it also allows you to engage the community, talk, have discussions. So, okay. And then we also have print and ebook integration. So basically, integrating the ebook and the print version together. So, for example, you can scan printed book with your smartphone. Then you'll be able to watch a video, like a QR code or something. You scan the QR code and then you watch a video. So these are the kind of integration that we want to do. We have an app solution which we are working on. Then this is also be interesting for textbooks. In a textbook, sometimes learning a topic is not easy, especially if it's a very dry topic. The mechanics or something that really have to gaps. So having the multimedia makes it really. One is the online distance learning. This is something that is very successful in Germany. I think Germany program for this kind of thing like driving technology and things is very successful. So we now have to apply it to the English medium. So we have an online learning platform called Diversity since 2017. So if you are interested, you can even develop not only books, but we can also develop an online platform where we also publish Springer videos. If you're interested to, if your research is a show and tell kind of research, interesting for you to actually publish a video, we can also do that. So we also publish videos, and I'm not sure Ken how the sales for Springer videos. Do you sell it?
There are not many genres of it. very
Yeah.
market area, so there's not as big a market as compared to books.
Okay, so basically, the opportunity for you to publish a video of your own, okay, people can use it on your own. Okay. Okay, so this is the virtual reality, where the virtual reality glasses, I think this was showcased in the Frankfurt Book Fair in 2018. So basically, you wear a VR headset, you can read the pages of the book by moving or turning your head. I think it's more useful. I think I went to Legoland in Johor. Roller coaster with the VR was mind blowing. You know, because you don't see what's happening on goggles. Oh, that's good. So they also have this. If you like to go for the ride, you know, they have this for the handbook of robotics. I go down a little bit. So it's interesting. We also have that capability. Last, I like to touch on, we have a lot of online resources for potential book authors. So if you go to this website address over here, basically information for potential book authors, we have like a little bit of a course as well. Different segments. I think it might even give you a certificate if you finish. So it's quite useful. So I strongly encourage you guys to also look into this source that Springer has. And just lastly, I'd like to say that, you know, choosing the right publisher is critical. You know, someone that can move with the demands of the electronic world, ensure that your book that you publish or journal article that you publish is findable, searchable, and is distributed globally. It conducts peer reviews. And we have a team of professionals to help you and guide you every way. And of course, you know, if there's a copyright issue, someone is stealing your research work and using it for your own purpose. So that's where Springer steps in on our behalf of our authors, and also the fact that sometimes book gets downloaded and put it in some website for free. So we also step in and shut it down. So we think with that, this is the wonderful world of books gardening. Basically, the cartoon that Niels Peter Thomas, the VP for book publishing, basically is a pictorial representation of what we do. You know, above ground is basically the authors, researchers, experiment, you know, thinking about ideas. I'm so sorry. But I'll send you the like, and below is basically us. How we are doing the copy anything, trying to specify whether it's a book chapter, and then we have typesetting, we have people doing marketing, then going through the production process, and then finally the book gets published, and then it goes into the library, and then the library is the books are read by researchers to go on dreaming about what to do experiment next, and then they do the experiment, they write their book, send it down to us again. So there's a vicious cycle. Okay, with that, thank you for your attention. Cartoon, find it very funny. I laugh. So if you have any questions, I'm very happy to. Thank you so much for your attention.
Your tips that we now feel more prepared to start our own publishing in region. And now we love to open the floor to the audience for this Q&A session. Start with questions to Dr. Ramesh. We have the
sure you can also tell you. 5 minutes after.
Okay. Yeah. Quick one.
Yeah.
So from PTA, I would like to ask regarding AI tools because nowadays we see that there's a lot of AI tools available such as ChatGPT, Perplexity. So as an editor, what is your point of view? Because I'm sure when it comes to Gen AI Perplexity, the sentence that they put in is much more well organized. So in terms of ethical, maybe your point of view. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, this is a new dimension that we have to deal with. Because actually this problem has been around for quite a while. Always bad actors out there trying to publish. Sometimes they have used software to generate such articles going on since since 2016, 17. And we publish sometimes, we go through the cracks. So now I guess AI tool is more available. Last time is some underground tool that we developed in some lab or something. So I think yes, I mean AI is useful to polish, which I think is okay to use the tool just for that. You shouldn't use the tool to generate uh, the whole book, yeah, or generate doubts, which what this kind of article that I described, we call it scientific SciGen, this is the short form, the one that happened in 2017-18 that we caught. Yeah, so I think for that reason, it's okay. Like for example, if I journal article and we run a screen, if it is less than 10%, we detect that it's AI generated, I think it's okay. But anything more than that will be very suspicious. So for me, less than 10% over, and there are a lot of tools out there for you to scan. So right, polishing, I use AI sometimes, right? I write emails or to write a complete. It really kind of make you sound like, you don't sound very broken English. When you write complete letter broken English, you don't sound credible at all. So AI make you sound very learned and respectable. Yeah. So in that sense, I think it's useful. But if it is used to fabricate, then that's it. Sure, students are using it. And you guys, I'm sure you all are also screening articles, right? Yeah. Not plagiarism. Okay, thank you for your question. This is in the court, right? Yeah. So you have a judge over here. This is the lawyer, and so then you are then struck intruder with a PhD bound. Yeah, obviously it's really hurt here because it was a research with impact. So his thesis has a lot of impact, which is why this guy is all broken. Bones are broken. Double meaning. Yeah, double meaning. His thesis obviously was maybe a 500 page and also yeah.
So the school of mechanical engineering. Basically, I have two questions. mentioned just now, we have different kinds of publishing options. For example, the first one, like have open access features. So I'm just curious if, let's say, we wish to publish edited volume or textbooks, not the open access type of publications. So is there any cost involved for authors when we present the book proposal and going through the publication process? During that process, is there any cost involved? That's my first question. Secondly, I wish to maybe perhaps you can explain a little bit more. If let's say we choose to publish with Springernature, so what are the types of licensing that are required for, let's say, authors, like perhaps like royalties and things like that? So maybe you can explain a little bit. Thank you.
So, Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Johnson from Mechanical Engineering. Yes, two questions. First question is basically on the costing, right? It is a non-open access book. So there is no costing involved. There is no costing because it's going to be transfer of the license to the commercial license of your book to Springer. So last time they used to call it copyright transfer, like you write journal. But now they changed the wording. Now it's no longer copyright. The commercial license to your book. So that means you wrote a book and only license the commercial license to make money out of it. That means you cannot send your book to the company. Yeah. You can have the author version, maybe you can share it. The commercial license belongs to us. Yeah. So for such a model, they believe that pay our author royalty. Check the water. So it gets very complicated. So what we have done copy. So that so the flat fee payment, if your book underperforms, cut down bad for some years. So my author stopped getting paid. I had to go and chase the royalty department. Yeah, so we are underhanded too many. So when copies as well, paper copies if you want. Yes. I hope I got your. Can you have anything you want to add?
Oh, well, maybe you could explain about the situation. Conferences, when she think on. I think physical copies or conferences, but that's a question that often comes up.
Oh, I say don't
Don't do that.
Why you want to bring telephone book?
No, lah. Yes.
Conference proceeding can 1,000 pages. So what we do for conference proceedings is after the book is published, we give free access for 6 weeks. So once book published, 6 weeks, I give you a code, give it to anybody and everyone. So with that code, you can go into the book, just download the whole book, download the chapter, for 6 weeks. Instead of carrying the print copy.
Better to encourage that way.
Printing is it's also a logistical nightmare because I'm a publishing editor. I'm supposed to get project, but instead I'm dealing with customer service.
Sending books over to this part.
Okay. Any questions?
Once we are comfortable with it. Okay, short is various types of publication opportunity. To produce the different proceeding and can be also subchapters, meaning that we have a chapter in books. Okay? From your 10 years experience with Springernature, what type of publication that normally the authors will choose, and that when producing it is we don't want to have to lengthen the duration up to 7 years.
Right.
Thank you.
So it's a good question. We're basically comparing conference proceedings with chapter author. So both are actually very different articles. Was conference proceeding based on your research? You go conferences, you present the latest, more of a presenting your latest research. Chapter authors not presenting your latest research, but describing such like a secondary kind of just describing the research topic. So it's basically not, you shouldn't be, just highlight your research results there, but only being used to describe the research topic. So these two are actually of it, the target audience, purpose of the article is very different. So in that way, for someone write of obviously you think, maybe if you're presenting at the conference, then you the volume to be written as a secondary form of to describe something. Well, I mean, products like books, encyclopedias, these are books being used quite a lot. So because these books are very generic books and they are also very thick books, conference proceedings are used quite a bit. They are used usually in the beginning after the conference gets published. I think there's a huge search of citation, then because is there newest stuff out there, right? From conferences. So that one there will be a search. After it dies down. If you look at handbooks, textbooks, this one the shelf life is much longer. Much longer. Like maybe after 5, 6, 7 years, still people are downloading. Because this is bread and butter, right? Because writing a research topic. So it's very hard to compare. It's like, yeah. Every publication, book publication serves a certain function, not easy to write textbook if you don't teach course.
Question from the negative side. What happens if the manuscript has been rejected? Does Springer or feedback to guide the manuscript? And what happens if the manuscript has been rejected? Is there any opportunity to resubmit?
Maybe I can cite an example. I received a manuscript for an edited book. This one was on nanofluids. So when I got the manuscript, it was about maybe 10 chapters. So it was on, I think, yeah. So I sent the manuscript for review. I didn't look at it properly because it was supposed to be published in the series editor will look at it. The professor, Korea. He looked at it, replied back to me, rubbish. It's rubbish. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't really check it before. But I was being appalled with his language because you just look at, some academics, they like abrupt. When I looked at the book chapters, it's really right out of the 10 chapters, because it's an edited volume, so right chapter out of the 10 chapters, I think about it wasn't very good sign. It was very basic. So it looked like some kind of student who was. Then I was like, oh no, because I trusted the editor. Then the other 3-4 chapters was not related to the topic of the book. We're talking about semiconductor film deposition, and I was looking at like when is fluid research thing going to kick in into this chapter. It didn't come. So then I went back to the book editor. I said, oh, I should have looked at this manuscript before sending it to my series editor. It's quite. I told him, I can't, out of your 10 chapter 6, you have to look. Now, then he's, so situations like this is really difficult. I really have to push it back to him because it can't move forward. If there is changes up to 80%, like maybe supposed to be 10 chapters, but 2 chapter authors for some reason they couldn't submit it. Then we still look at the whole other structure of the chapters. Okay, it still tells the good story. Continue. Move forward. So dire situations like this, I cannot help. Yeah. So usually I try my best. I think in this case I even told them, you want to publish it in the Springer brief? Yeah, I gave him the option to talk to his other authors, see if he can salvage, because I also have a heart. I know that this guy sacrificed time to write chapters. I also was an academic before. So I try to salvage the situation, but sometimes it really cannot be salvaged. You think about the situation. That will let it go. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
To the close for today's insightful discussion on book publishing with Springernature, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who participated, both here in person or online. And special thanks to our excellent speaker, Dr. Ramesh, for sharing on his expertise and insight. Now, in token of appreciation, I would like to invite Assistant Vice Chancellor, Professor Insigne T.S. Hajah Hamidah Ahmad Saman, Entity of Research Innovation, and Research Institute of to the show to present the token and to the
It'd be a very good timing background.
Kita tak bisa terus tu. Kita tak bisa terus tu. Dia nak sekarang.
Oh, okay.
Tak nak. Okay.
Kalau rekam eh.
Can you please relate it so that we can start photos?
Tutup bang. Sekejap. Gimana tutup dia? Betul saja. One. Habis dah. One, two, three. Okay, thank you.
Ini